I'd like to call the Northwood Board of Selectmen's meeting to order on January 29th, 6 p.m. Roll call. Donald Hutchin here.
Beth Boudreaux here.
Scott Breyer here.
Chief, would you like to lead us in the pledge, please? Doesn't matter which one.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have any citizens forum? I don't think he's coming up to talk, so I'm going to say no. We have an appointment for 6:10, but I believe we're still waiting for the attorney.
So, we'll go to
like
minutes.
to go on? We can do the minutes real quick. Yeah, sure.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from January 8th.
Second. Okay.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Any discussion? See none? Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did you have something that you needed?
No, I just wanted to say.
I didn't, I haven't seen the
You was gonna
22nd.
talk or something.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I know Trinity also said she put other minutes in your, for you to look at.
Yeah, I put
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to read those. That's where Scott was going next.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll put those ones off to the next meeting. Do you want to do the manifest real quick?
I'll slide that out.
Okay, I need a motion to accept the payroll manifest for 92,969.96.
So moved.
So moved. Do we usually read the amount into the
Yes,
record?
you did, I think.
You did. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
92,969.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? No. Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
We're just getting used to the new routine. Bear with us. We'll get there.
It's a learning process for everyone.
Yeah. Another extra one I gave up.
You lefty?
No.
Uh-oh.
Righty. You guys are both lefties, aren't you? Oh, yeah, righty.
Here you go.
Thank you.
So, do you
Just have a couple little things quickly.
want to bang those out? Can you bang them out before the 6:10?
Yes.
Okay.
I need a motion to appoint the road agent John Boudreaux until March 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 2-1 abstained. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, and I need a motion and a signature to have the Northwood Board of Selectmen recognize Savannah Audit as the elected town clerk tax collector and recognize her as the authorizer as the municipal agent for the town of Northwood.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, and I just need you to sign this letter and I'll pass it down.
Let me bring this to work tomorrow.
Yeah, yes, good.
There you go.
And then I need a motion and also a motion to have you sign. And I believe that you knew about this letter. It is to have I believe it's the New Hampshire Division of Historical Resources. I can't talk at the end of the day. It's DHR to review the inventory for the Chelsea Memorial Library. Avenue in Northwood, as determined, is eligible for listing into New Hampshire State Register of Historic Places. So I need to have DJ sign this letter, so I need a motion for him to be able to sign it and to have the library added to it.
I'll make a motion to allow the chairman to sign that document on behalf of the Board of Selectmen.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
And the final thing that I have is that we have a town-owned property, and I'd like to have a motion to have the code and fire official write a letter to Eversource to have power shut off there. It's the building, we had the fire, and the code official and also Public Works looked at it, And apparently there is still power going into the building, but they feel it's a public hazard, so I want the board to make a motion that we can write a letter, or they can write a letter to have power turned off there.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussions? Seeing none? Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. That it?
That's it.
All right, so we're a little early, so we're gonna go right into our appointment. We'll start 5 minutes early. Safety Complex Committee, would you guys like to come up and visit us? I'll let you run this half of this part of the meeting.
I don't want to run anything.
It's all you, buddy.
Oh, come on up, Council.
Now we have no audience.
Councilor.
I'm actually kind of surprised. We did invite the others, and they didn't show.
Well, point of order, should we give them
We'll
4
give them
minutes?
the 4 minutes. We'll give them the 4 minutes. We'll have a little chat. We can just have a little chat. We'll give them the 4 minutes before we go into our actual.
So thanks for coming.
Well, we did hear from
You all
one,
look thrilled.
like,
I know, like,
Start just to be,
thank you for rearranging your schedule to be here tonight. I appreciate it.
My dance lesson got canceled,
Oh.
so all worked out.
Oh, that worked
We're
very
gonna try to
good.
get everybody out. It looks like we're gonna be good. We'll get everybody out before it gets too bad.
Yes.
So you guys pretty much know why we're here. I don't need to explain it.
I can share mine. Me too.
This one will be up like this.
Just here last night.
It's really think about the zoning board. Absolutely.
How are you, Scott? I haven't seen you in ages.
Oh, well,
Good.
thank you. How you doing?
I'm okay.
How was your holiday?
It's good. Good. Uneventful, which is always good.
Oh, I don't think they're
We
coming.
can start.
So anyways, I was the selectman liaison to the safety committee, and it looks like we might have not did the exact perfectly right thing.
So
I guess you were here to educate the committee.
I am, yeah, to sort of have a public discussion about it. The hope was to have that discussion here, so that no one felt the need to have it at deliberative session,
Yeah.
because deliberative session is not the appropriate place to have this conversation. But a member of the public has raised a concern that the Public Safety Committee didn't follow the right to know law, in that it didn't post at least the initial meetings and didn't keep minutes from the meetings. As an appointed subcommittee, obviously you were required to comply with the right to know law. And so that was an error, and it's fixable. I had sent an email some time ago explaining that really all you need to do is sort of reconvene, summarize what happened at those meetings, put it in the minutes, apologize, promise you'll never do it again. And you've sort of taken care of it to the best you can take care of it. You obviously can't go back and fix it. You know, you can only cure it going forward. But the bigger concern is that that same citizen has raised a concern that because of the alleged right to know law violation, that the warrant article shouldn't be on the warrant, that what your recommendation should essentially be invalidated, and therefore the warrant article shouldn't be on the warrant. Now, I completely disagree with that, because putting the warrant article on was a decision of the Board of Selectmen, and there's no allegation that the Board of Selectmen erred in any way. So I don't think that's an appropriate challenge to the warrant article, but I was hoping that by having this meeting ahead of time and addressing it in public, preferably with the people who had raised it, we'd be able to sort of resolve that here, and we wouldn't have to do it Saturday morning. So, but last time I was here, last week, I think there was some there's some attempt to explain to me sort of how this happened, but you weren't here. So can you help us understand why the meetings weren't posted or minutes kept? Did you just not understand you needed to do that?
Without, yeah. So they, when we had the first meeting, we went to the meeting and actually, I did bring this up at the meeting and said, this should be posted. And I'm not trying to point fingers or anything, because that's not my intention. The architect kind of explained that we would look doing, it was really just working and figuring out some schematics and stuff of how to approach the project and the design and everything. And
Call you guys a work group?
like a work group, a working group. And I did bring it up that I thought it should be in public.
Yeah.
I think the majority of the people in the room at that meeting, the appointed officials at the meeting, kind of like it was. There wasn't. The majority didn't think it had to be.
Okay.
With that being said, I said, well, I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
And, so basically, that's what happened.
Okay.
I can tell you, and my opinion. There's no ill will.
I have absolutely no doubt that there was no ill will or
And once it
bad
was brought
faith.
to your attention, didn't you address it?
As soon as it was brought, first off, I want to say we only had, I want to say, 3 meetings. No, and the other thing is most of these meetings were advisory. The selectmen, which, yeah, just go a little back. The members, the committee was set up at a selectmen's meeting.
And that's the rub.
in the public, I'm just saying.
I understand
The
that.
meeting was set up. The setting up of the meeting was discussed at a selectmen's meeting. The public members were appointed at the the selectmen said we'll have represent the chiefs or their designees, 1 selectman, and 2 public members, and the emergency management, Bob Young. So that was all done in public.
Yeah.
We did mistake, and I have responsibility for that because I should have just pushed it, but I didn't. At that point, as soon as we realized that it was an error, I had the police. I requested the police chief to stop posting all the meetings, which he did, and to the best of knowledge, we are keeping minutes now.
Okay, good. So lesson
And
number
all the
1.
and all the decisions as far as we put the warrant, how much it cost, all that, all those were motioned in public at a selectmen's meeting.
Okay.
So there was no, I don't even agree with the premise that any of this was done in secrecy, because it wasn't. And,
Okay. Okay, so lesson number 1, we don't take legal advice from our architect. And issue number 2, and this is a common misunderstanding, is that because you're a formally created subcommittee, you are subject to the right to know law, and that requires posting and minutes, but it doesn't require that you allow the public to participate. So they had a right to be there to listen. But they didn't have a right to talk, and maybe that was what the architect was thinking, that there was no place for public input.
I think he was concerned, Glenn, please, if I'm thought if I misinterpreted something, I would like your opinion. But I think the architect was concerned that it could get a little crazy if the public says, oh, I don't like that, and I understand what you're saying, I totally agree with what you're saying, but I think one of the reasons justified was we wanted the meeting to be organized and run.
And that requires a strong chairman when you have a pushy public.
Yeah, we obviously didn't do what was right, but we should have posted them. But that was I understand the reasoning for it.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, we can fix it. It's going to require 1 more meeting to sort of get together and summarize what you did at those not posted meetings, create some minutes, vote to approve them, and then you've really done everything you can do. And if there's further times we need to deal with this in another forum, we'll deal with it. But I don't want anyone to think that I'm insinuating this was done in bad faith in any way, shape, or form. I fully believe it was just an error.
Council, I do have two questions, though, that have to do with some of the procedures of the meetings.
Okay.
One of them had to do with the purchase of land.
Yes.
And under normal circumstances, as selectmen,
Yep.
they would be going into executive session.
Yes.
So we as committee members were
Yes.
discussing the same problem.
Yep.
And so that was information that didn't need to get public until we actually had agreement on land.
Yes. So what you needed to do was post it as a meeting, convene in an open meeting, vote to go into non-public session to discuss that.
So
And-
committees are allowed to do that.
Absolutely, yes. You have all the rights and responsibilities under the law. And that exception, of course, only applies when you're sort of negotiating for land and you're worried someone's going to swoop in under you and buy it. But if that was the situation here, absolutely, you could have gone into non-public, you could have sealed the minutes, so that is how that would have been
And the
addressed.
second question that's akin to that is that there was an attempt to try to hold off on bringing forth any funding numbers until actually had a final number.
Yep.
So that you didn't have all these numbers floating around.
Yes, yes. And, you know, again, that's fine. If that was part of the negotiation, that could all have been done in non-public.
Could I clarify that? And,
Yeah.
that wasn't part of the negotiation, but the one of the discussions was from a point was we wanted to have a solid number to be released to the public, so people weren't having a moving target.
Yep.
So you like say for example, like the first number we threw out was like 3.5, and then the next week it's 5.5, and this and that. We wanted the information to the public be, this is the number, so that there was, because the number that was given is a do not exceed number.
And I appreciate that goal and that desire to not cause confusion, but unless that number had to do with what you were negotiating to buy the real estate, that really is public
That is public,
information.
okay.
Yeah.
And, yeah, okay. And I kind of, based on our conversation tonight, I kind of get that, but I was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Any other questions I can answer? Thank you all for coming out in a snowstorm. Thank you all for serving on the committee.
Yeah, thank you guys for all the hard work. Look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday.
I will not be there on Saturday, but I am meeting with the attorney who is going to be there on Saturday tomorrow.
Is it the gentleman we had last year?
No, it's Ed Lawson, who's an experienced school attorney, so he knows the mechanics of town meeting.
Oh, a school attorney. Oh.
He knows the mechanics of a meeting, and it's really transferable from one to the other. So we're going to go through your warrant point by point, and the two issues that we know are going to be controversial. I'm going to brief him on.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for coming out.
You're welcome. Have a good night. Everyone drive safe.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you. You too.
You're up by Laconia, right?
I live in Concord,
Thanks,
but our
Carl.
office is in Laconia, so my
Oh,
driveway's
that's not that
bad.
I was just making sure because I don't do
Right.
minutes for that.
But if it's 8 hour meeting, you understand.
Thanks. Sure you don't want to come?
He's still there. Can we have a 5-minute recess?
We're gonna come back out of our recess. What do we have next?
We've gone through the acceptance of the minutes.
Have any assessing forms or applications?
No,
Well, we already approved any purchase orders?
we don't have any purchase orders tonight.
Miscellaneous signatures and approvals?
No,
Do you have a town administrator's report?
I do not this week.
It's awesome.
Be a quick one. Do you have any selectmen's reports, Scott?
I don't have one if you don't have one.
The only thing I'd like to say is, I'd like to ask, do we have all the pins stuff for the new chief? Because we need to set that up. That's the only thing that we have.
We're
at the
working
meeting.
on scheduling on that for the 12th.
The 12th?
And I
Are we
know-
gonna have time? I know we have a really packed
That agenda is so packed that I've actually started to work on putting anything else that's coming in to put everything into the next week,
On the 19th.
on the 19th.
I mean, I just want to make sure give him the proper amount of time to give him an actual good.
Because I mean, that whole
Service or
agenda is,
whatever.
when I started to look at it, because between everything else, between a public hearing that night, and it's crazy.
Okay. So what do you want to do? Do you want to put him on the 19th, or do you want to do the 12th, or? It's up
I
to
don't want to hold him off any longer. It's your meeting, so.
You want to do it? I just don't want to cut. I don't want to give you a quick service and you be disappointed. If you're okay with something quick, I'm okay with it too. All right, so we can do it the 12th then
Okay.
if he's okay with it. And I would
What are we
invite.
supposed to do? What do you mean? Like,
I've never done
hire
one
a
before.
band? I mean,
I've never done one before. I have no idea.
You gotta bring in the Pope.
Hey, I have no clue. I've never done it. So could we? Do we also have? Do we have the gift that we got? So can we invite former Chief Bassett in too to do it at the same night, please?
Okay.
And also all the fire department if they want to come. Anybody that wants to come. That's really all I had.
Good.
That's the only thing I wanted to
Would
get.
it be terrible if I entertained, make a motion for adjournment?
No, I'm okay.
Everybody else set?
Oh, one more citizens
we
forum.
do have
Sorry. Yep.
other people here.
No,
so
go
maybe-
ahead. Citizens forum. I forgot citizens forum. I forgot it. My bad. Sorry, John.
That's fine, that's fine. No, I just want to jump on the 55 Main Street thing, she said about having the power poles, just so, you know,
Okay.
give you a little heads up, because the fire chief and the code officer and health officer, we all three went down into the building. For some reason, the road agent has a key to that building, which was surprising to all of us when I tried the first key and I got into it. Yeah, but anyways, we got in, and the power panel down cellar is actually off, and the main breaker's pulled, but the meter's still running. And there's wires that are disconnected and just hanging there, so there's live wires just hanging there. There's no heat, the furnace doesn't work. What brought it to my attention originally was an animal control call, because a neighbor walked by, saw feral cats and rats coming out of the garage. The garage is full of garbage. The house still has food in it. And we stuck our head in there. We're not sure if there's hazmat material in there or not, so you guys may need to look at getting a cleaning company in there. And we talked about maybe having the fire department just standing by in case there is hazardous material. You know, then that kicks up to another
Which
level.
house is this?
Is that the
It's one of the ones we took.
Amos?
the old Ames property?
Yeah.
It's on what street though? I'm sorry.
Main Street.
Street 55.
I don't
It's
want
right
rats.
after the Magoons.
We don't want
Right
rats
after
in the neighborhood,
Magoons.
that's gross.
It's right after the Magoons property.
Yes, but it smells when you walk by.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
that.
And that's bringing rats, that's bringing skunks, that's bringing raccoons, that's bringing feral cats, all right into that neighborhood. That's going to be a health issue.
This might be a question for finance, but what do we have in the budget for sort of cleanups like that?
I'll have
I
to
know,
look
I
into
know we
that.
did.
We
that.
have a line, there is money in the budget for
Cleanups.
taking care of.
We might be able to take care of that.
We discussed that we don't think it's something that the highway or the fire department should be directly involved in moving the garbage. And
No,
moving the food.
absolutely not.
Just something, but obviously over his oversight, in case there is hazardous material.
We can definitely have a look into it, see what we can do.
Okay, well,
First step, getting that power pulled, so it's
Yep,
safe.
yeah, first
so I
step is
wanted
getting
to
the
bring
power
that.
pulled, absolutely. Anything else? Any more citizens forum? Amy, you got anything? No? Okay. Now you can entertain a motion to adjourn, Scott.
I'll move adjournment.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're now adjourned a half hour meeting.